Hello, everybody. It's Gary Stuckey with Journey News slash Steve Perry slash Neal Schon News question mark. Yeah, what is it? Hey, Neal Schon just posted this on his social media pages. It says, "We'll be opening a new platform, friends. It's going to get interesting." At Neal Schon, at Neal and Mikhail Schon. Hashtag Journey Neal Schon. Hashtag Journey. Hashtag Journey Through Time. Hashtag NSJTT. Hashtag NS. So he covers it all. So inquiring minds want to know, so I reached out over on Twitter and said, new JTT dates, thinking Journey Through Time. And Neal Schon writes NS. So it's not necessarily Journey Through Time. It's Neal Schon's gig. And a new platform, he says. I'm trying to think, what platform is he talking about? But he says it's going to be interesting. So here's my thinking. I like to think. And check this out. I do news. I do Steve Perry news, Journey news, all in that, subject. I do bring you the news. Now, I do go speculate sometimes, but please don't compare me to that other guy. I'm just saying. But anyway, but yeah, that sounds very exciting considering when I told you about the Las Vegas, possibility, maybe, was there a hint that Steve would do a residency? Was he hinting around? Was Journey hinting around? I did a video a while back. And I don't do too many videos in between. I'm not just doing some clickbait, posting about, Steve's hair or something. But I do the news now. Like I said, I speculate. But that was in the news. And that sounds, like a possibility that maybe there's something in the works. And it would make sense to me that Neal would be doing something on his own. He's not including Journey per se. It's just Neal Schon. So Neal can bring in anybody that he wants to. Right? And it takes me back to when Sammy Hagar was interviewing Neal Schon on his Rock and Roll Road show in 2018, at the very same time I started this channel, and Steve was in the works trying to come out with his new album, and Journey was about to go on tour, and Jonathan Cain had his book coming out. Just so many things going on. But Sammy asked Neal during that interview, would Steve Perry ever rejoin Journey? He said, I don't know. He said he don't know. But he thinks he will do something with Steve in the future, not necessarily a Journey thing, but it will be something they could jam together and he can do some R&B. Now this sounds like something that would go right along with that. You don't have to worry about any legal anything tied in with Journey, because Neal Schon can do his own thing. He can bring in who he wants to. And, something tells me that Neal talked to Steve at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, which I've talked about before in other videos. The song No Erasing, I talked about that. And they probably decided, hey, we're going to do something in the future. And probably for the 50th anniversary, that would be the perfect time, right? To do something, especially for 50 years. And also maybe to commemorate those two getting together, writing the song patiently, and just being friends through it all, And when Steve dropped the lawsuit recently, against Neal and Jonathan, that just kind of made it more interesting in the hopes that maybe they could work something out, and it seems to be that way, and kind of clear the air and some things. And but that's what it seems to be all about. When you think back to Traces, I'm not going to rehash all the things I've talked about for the past 5 years. But the Traces album cover and the fact that he named it Traces, of course, taken from the song Something to Hide. It's been a long, long time since I saw your face. Traces in my mind, right? So, Traces, there's the album. And of course, at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, Neal Schon says, "This is so long time coming." And then Steve Perry says in his song, "No Racing," "I know it's been a long time coming since I saw your face." So, I'm just saying, just throwing that out there. You put it all together. Okay? But I think somehow this is a way for Steve to get in the picture. I do think that Neal, when he started Journey Through Time, I think it was planned, I think, uh, in the hopes to get Greg back in there. But I think it was a way to try to get Steve back in there without doing anything, going through any legal channels and all that stuff. But Steve didn't, bite. So now I think this is a way to get Steve in. Once again, I'm just saying, just my idea. And maybe Greg Raleigh could come along too, and that will make sense of that whole era of the Something to Hide era and the Infinity, Patiently. That album just ties in, maybe that would be part of that. But speaking of Traces, let's take a look at that, shall we? This will make you smile. Yeah, take a close look. The beautiful album cover from Steve Perry's Traces album, yes, by my friend Jeff Wack. Yeah, look at that guitar. Neal Schon's guitar. It's got that dove on there. But that's a beautiful guitar. It reminds me of something I've seen recently. Oh, yes, there it is. A Strat, an upright Strat. Okay, now look a little bit to the left of the Strat, kind of behind it. There's a Golden Gate Bridge. Where have we seen that before? Wait. There it is. Yeah. In the same exact position, too. And notice that this picture that Neal Schon has posted, if you go in a line right down the middle, it's a mirror image on both sides. That's why you have a guitar and the Golden Gate Bridge on either side matching. Yeah, that it's an image. Okay, so what else we got? Let me see here. Oh yeah, look at that. There's an I right above Steve's name, right above the E. Where have we seen that before? Oh yes, a Neal Schon's picture. The big I in the center. And what about those wings there on either side of that eye? Have we seen those on Steve's album cover? Well, let's take a look. Well, maybe it's that dove on top of Neal Schon's guitar. Yeah, symbolizing peace between those two guys. And nothing symbolizes that more whenever Steve dropped that suit against Neal and John. Okay. And it's fun to go back and watch my older videos that tie into this because I had the same idea a few years ago when Neal was getting the Journey Through Time guys together in the hopes that Steve would join them. He actually tweeted and hoped maybe Steve would show up. It didn't happen. But I did do a video called A Cure for Steve Perry's Bleeding Heart. Yeah, there's a picture. Yeah, not quite as gray right there. But go check that out. It's funny because I mentioned everything I've just talked about, in this video. And during the break of Journey Not Playing, Neal wrote a song that he posted called A Cure for the Bleeding Heart. And then he deleted it, and you didn't see nothing about it. And I speculated in that video. Yeah, check it out. But, and then in an article in Rolling Stone. Now, this was 3 years ago. This was like October in 2020. But there was an article with Steve Perry, and he says that his heart has been bleeding to get back on stage. And, in all the interviews, like in the VH1 Behind the Music, he says he thinks about it all the time. He's been talking about touring. It's been on his mind, But he's got that bleeding heart. And I said a cure for the bleeding heart would be to tour. And, of course, what do you see behind that eye up there? You see a heart. It sounds to me like a cure could be helped by Neal Schon setting all this up. And that NS at the bottom with that infinity. Speaking of which, Infinity, right? The album that Steve Perry first showed up on. The N and S could be Neal and Steve, just saying. And I hope you watch this video all the way through. I hope everybody shares this and gets a kick out of it. Now, like I said, just reporting the news, Neal did post this. Now, I've made speculations, right, like I always do, and it's fun. It's entertaining. It don't have to always turn out just right, but it could happen. And I've had things that I've said, that I talked about that happened. And no, it doesn't always turn out like I say it will. But, like I said, it's fun to speculate and kind of think about what might be and just kind of wait and see what happens. But it does sound very hopeful. I'm just saying, with all those things I've talked about. Go back and watch my videos. Watch the videos I've talked about with the Cure for the Bleeding Heart, the one I did about, Sammy Hagar and Neal Schon. I've talked about that video so many times and all the little hidden messages. I'm just saying it's fun. But is there a possibility? Yes. And it could all this be something else. Neal's just doing some project. Could be, and that's the news I'm bringing you. But my speculation gets you excited, and that's what it's all about. So, get excited. And thanks for watching, everybody. Be sure to subscribe and check out my other channel, Real Music with Gary Stuckey, and please give that a subscribe. Click on the subscribe button over there, please, and check out my podcast. I got some cool interviews coming up very soon. And thanks for watching. Until next time, everybody, whatever you do, don't stop believing. God bless you.